Hi, I'm Betsy Stewart. Welcome and thanks for watching my video. I hope you learned from it. I'm a senior fundraising consultant with the Heller Fundraising Group. Over the course of my career, I've been privileged to do two things I love doing, teaching and writing. I get to do a lot of both in my current job. I teach and advise people on how to raise money, which involves a lot of writing to major donors. In today's video, I'll focus on emails. My clients regularly send me emails that they plan to send to their major donors. Together, we refine the emails so that they build and strengthen relationships. So let's talk about writing emails to major donors. I'll start with why. Why is it important to write effective emails? It's important because written communication is necessary at each juncture of building the relationship. A well-written email is a way to summarize, clarify, confirm, and continue building the relationship, but only if it's written well. So let's talk about how to write it well. Best practices for email. Start with a powerful, short subject line to get them to open it. If it's a donor you know, a subject line like Betsy to Michelle is effective because they see right away that it's for them personally. If you know the person, start with a friendly phrase. If you don't know them, connect the dots and explain why you thought they might want to hear from you. Short content is best with short paragraphs, but don't write in shorthand. Avoid confusion with full sentences. I recommend one request per email. They don't always take the time to answer more than one. And don't include a return receipt request. It's too much like hounding. Remember that your overarching goal is to build the relationship. Whatever the task of your email is, getting a meeting or scheduling a call is secondary. No matter what the task is, your email is making an impression and we want it to be a good one. In my work with clients, the most common problem I see is that gratitude, even for little things, is either left out altogether or included as an afterthought. An example is that one of my clients wanted to write to a funder about a special opportunity. My client started a draft of the email and then asked me to review it. I'm going to use her email and the opening paragraph as an example of what I'm talking about. She had arranged for two of her new staff members to meet with this funder, so she started her email saying that she was glad the funder would be meeting with them. To me, it almost sounded like it was a privilege for the funder to meet these new staff people. Here's what she wrote. I'm so glad you're going to be meeting with Jane and Bob. They've already made huge contributions to the effectiveness and efficiency of our development office. My advice was to present the meeting as their privilege, not the donors, and thank the donor for her time. Here's how I suggested we change it. I'm so glad you'll be meeting with Jane and Bob. They have already made significant contributions to the effectiveness and efficiency of our development office, and it will be very helpful for them to talk with you. Thanks very much for taking time for them. Not only does this include gratitude right away, it sets the tone of the email to be one of respect for the donor and awareness that the donor is helping us, not the other way around. This is a common and understandable problem because we development professionals must be so focused on our bottom line, which means it's very tempting to rush through things like the opening paragraph to get to the part about the money. It's critically important to remember that you are building the relationship with every email you send. By opening this way, the recipient feels respect and gratitude right off the bat, which will get her to read the rest of the email and which leads to building the trust you need in your relationships with your donors. In addition to gratitude, another way to build the relationship is to focus your email on them, not on you. Sort of like this. Instead of, we are so important and so interesting, which to me has a subtext of, you've got the money, honey, so I'm writing to you. What about starting like this? I think you'd enjoy learning more about this because of your interest in whatever it is that acknowledges the donor's values. This one has a subtext of, I know you, you're one of us, and I know you wouldn't want to miss this. It gets the email off to a good start by offering an opportunity for the donor right away. A cold email is one where you've never met the donor before. So I'd say start by explaining why you thought they might want to hear from your organization. Describe your organization's mission in one sentence in simple English, not the official blurb off the website. It needs to sound like you're genuinely passionate about it. Get right to the point, ask for a call or a meeting, and be sure to include your phone number in case they want to call to follow up. A warm email is what I call it when you've met them, but only briefly. You should follow up within 24 hours after meeting and don't wait. They won't remember you. Start with a reminder of where you met and suggest a next step, a call or a meeting. Keep it short, and again, include your phone number in case they want to call. For all emails, log the date you emailed so you can calculate follow-up timing, plan your follow-up timing date, and set a reminder for yourself. There's a fine line between cultivation and hounding. You want to give them time to read and reply, remembering that they have other things to do. So sending an email on Tuesday afternoon and then again Wednesday morning is hounding. I'd give anyone a minimum of a few days to respond before you email again, and often considerably more than that. Like so much in fundraising, there's no formula for this. You have to figure out what's the right amount of time to wait for each donor, but then keep in mind that your email is more important to you than it is to them. When to email a major ask? Well, the answer to that is almost never. A major ask is almost always best done in person, but there are exceptions. I've asked for major gifts via email several times in my experience, and it was successful. I don't generally recommend it, but like I said, there are exceptions. For instance, maybe your ask is time sensitive and urgent. Maybe your donor is out of the country and you know that, and you're not going to get a meeting or even a call, but you've got to ask. Maybe you almost always communicate with this donor through email and nothing else. Maybe you've tried scheduling a meeting or a call, but it just hasn't worked and you know that they're going to love this project. Or maybe you just have no other way to reach them. If you must solicit via email, start by acknowledging that it's unusual to ask for a major gift in an email. Explain why you're doing it. Consider attaching a full proposal letter, and if you do, all attachments must be PDFs, not Word documents. Proofreading is critical. I can't underestimate the importance of it, and here's a comic that brings the point home. Please proofread your emails. Bad grammar and poor spelling hurt your credibility and damage the trust you're trying to build. And just like General Half-Track, be careful with the spell checker and the grammar checker. They are not always correct. Just to make sure you don't accidentally send something before it's done, wait to fill out the to-line until you're done and you have proofread your email. Oh boy, let's talk about some things to avoid. First of all, don't use acronyms like OMG unless you know the donor knows what you mean. Remember that many major donors are older and this kind of shorthand just might not work for them. Humor in general and sarcasm in particular is dangerous. It depends on facial expression and tone of voice, so it can get lost in an email. If there's any chance something could be misinterpreted, delete it. And remember that your email could be forwarded. It can be shared with anybody, so don't write anything you don't want shared. In general, don't email your major donors or your major donor prospects in bulk emails. In fact, don't write anything that makes the donor feel like they are part of a crowd or a group. You're building an individual relationship, so communicate with each donor like an individual. Just because you may be building multiple individual relationships does not mean you should treat them as a group. To summarize, pay attention to the details. It's the little things that build trust, and relationships thrive or die because of trust. That's true in life, and it's especially true with your major donors. I'm glad you could join me today. Please check out my other 2 videos on writing to major donors at our website. One is on writing handwritten thank you notes, and one is on writing letters. And if you'd like to learn more about our consulting, please email me. See you next time, and thanks so much for all you do to make the world a better place.